Before implementing the two-factor authentication, I want you to understand the complete flow. User request to enable the 2FA. A user will send the backend request to our NestJS server. We will have enable endpoint. What this enable endpoint will do, this will generate the secret key. We're gonna use OTP library. It will generate the code. We will also generate the QR code and save the secret in the database for that user. We will create a new additional field for 2FA secret for against the user model. After secret key has been set, we're gonna send the QR code which we generate to the front end. Front end will display the QR code. Then user scans the QR code on the front end side with Google Authenticator. User will use the Google Authenticator app. He will register, scan the QR code. It will register a new application. So user will enter the code from his Authenticator app. Next step, then user submits a code from the Authenticator app. Backend checks it against the saved secret using OTP authenticator.check. Backend verify the code. Is code valid or not? If valid, mark the user as 2FA enabled. So we will enable the two-factor authentication for the user. If not, we will reject the error. We will have this endpoint verify setup for that step. On the front-end side, ask user for the first code. After scanning, send to the backend, show success or failure message. And at the step number 3, let's say if user want to log in without 2FA, you will continue the same process. If 2FA is enabled, if user enabled the 2FA, we will return 2FA required to true from the login endpoint. Instead of full session token, we will return this one. If response has 2FA required, we will redirect our user on the front end side to 2FA page. Otherwise, log in normally. If 2FA verification during login on 2FA page, user enters a 6-digit code, send it to the backend by following the same process, and it validates the code against the stored secret. If correct, issues a session token. If invalid, return the error. If valid, mark user as logged in, redirect to dashboard. If invalid, show error. This one is an optional step to add a feature to disable the 2FA. User scans the code, verify setup, mark enable, login flow, login with email password. If 2FA is required, ask for the code. Verify the code, issue a session JWT token, redirect to the dashboard. I want you to implement the complete 2FA by following these steps. You can do that. I'm going to use 2 libraries to work with 2FA. Let's install this library. The first one is QR code. We need this library to generate QR code. And other one is Speak Easy. It will generate the secret. I also need to install the typing of QR code. npm install -d at types QR code Speak Easy. Actually, the Speak Easy types. Now I have to add 2 new columns in the user entity. The first one, I need 2FA secret. Let's do that. 2FA auth secret. This one is an optional key column, nullable to true, null equal to true. Another is 2FA required. I'll call it 2FA secret. 2FA secret is 2FA enabled. Is 2FA enabled. We will store the 2FA secret in this column. For 2FA enable, it should be Boolean. The type should be Boolean. By default, I can set the false. You can also do the default value is false. Now we're going to create a new endpoint to enable 2FA and to generate secret key and generate QR code. It's the use card. Oops. Use card. I'm gonna use the JWT. This one should be generate. Generate endpoint. What we are doing, find user by email. If there is no user, I can say unauthorized. Actually, we don't need to check the user. Request.user. Let's generate the secret. I'm gonna define a new service, 2FA service. 2FA service. 2FA service. This service will have generate 2FA secret, or you can say generate secret. Generate secret method. It will take the user email. In the next method, we're gonna set the user service dot set 2FA secret. It will accept the user ID and the secret dot base 32. And our next step is to generate the QR code. Oops. QR code. I will have that method in 2FA service dot generate QR code. This will take the secret dot OTP path URL. And finally, we're gonna return the QR code. Return the QR code. And we need to return the secret. Yes. We did not create 2FA service. We will create 2FA service. We did not set that method too. We will also do that. 2FA secret. It will take the user ID and the base secret key. We will also define that method. I would like to generate a new service inside the auth directory. I'll say that nest generate service 2FA service. Actually, Let's delete. Also need to delete from the auth module. Get it from here. Next generate service to FA. To FA service. Get rid of the 2FA folder. I only need 2FA. Why it is saying that? 2FA service. 2FA dot service dot ts. That looks good. I should change the path to FA service, or I can say that to FA service, to FA service, this one, FA service. Why it is not giving me the suggestion? What is going on? Delete that service. Let's manually create the 2FA. 2FA. 2FA dot service dot ts. Injectable. Export class 2FA service. This one will have generate secret method, and here we need to use the speakeasy library secret. I'm gonna import the speakeasy library, speakeasy.generate secret. Here you will provide the name of your application. For me, Pomodoro app, and I'm gonna provide the email. After generated the secret, we're gonna return the secret. Let's inject 2FA service. 2FA service. 2FA. Or 2FA. We have implemented the generate secret. We also need to implement the generate QR code. QR code, it's gonna take the OTP auth URL string, and we need to generate the QR code. Let's import the QR code. QR code provides a method to generate to data to URL. We're gonna provide the URL. It will generate the QR code. it should be generate QR code, then Y. Argument of string type is not undefined. Let's fix it. Yeah, if there is no OTP auth URL, it's gonna return the error back. We did not, I think I implemented that method. You should implement, go to the user service and set to FA secret method. You should implement this one inside the user service, set to FA secret. What it will do, it will accept the email and it will find the user based on email. What we are sending, we are passing the set to FA. Actually, we are passing the ID. So we should find the user based on ID in the user service. Update ID. ID type should be number. And this is our secret. So we have implemented our first endpoint. It will generating the secret, setting to FA secret, generating the QR code. Now we're gonna move forward to our verify method. Actually, we need to implement the enable method. This work verify and enable method. This will act as a verify and enable. I'll call it verify. Verify two-factor auth code. Yes. It will have the code. The type should be string. Yes. First, it's gonna find user based on the email. If there is no user, it's gonna return the error to FA not set for this user. Otherwise, what we're gonna do, I will have this method inside the two-factor service, 2FA service. I'll open that 2FA. I will implement the verify code here. Verify code. It will take this string secret and the code, and it's gonna return the boolean. Yes. And we're gonna return the speakeasy.totp verify method. It will provide, you have to provide the secret, encoding, and the token, which is our code. Allow one step window 30 seconds before or after. So I should call the verify code here. This should be, yes, the verify code. If is verified, everything is fine, we should continue our process. If not verified, we should throw the error invalid to a fake code. If everything is verified, we can return the message or success to true. 2FA verification successful. Another method we should implement is enable. This will enable, actually this one, if you look at the model, user entity, this will enable is to FA enable. This will set that value. Like is user want to enable the 2FA, we should have that method. I'll call it enable two-factor auth, and I should copy that. I'll use it enable. Yes, enable 2FA auth. If no 2FA secret, we should send the error back. And for enable, we also need to get the code here, this code. We did not use that code. We also need to verify the code. If not verified, invalid 2FA code. If everything is good, here we should need to update the 2FA. So I can create a new method inside the user service, enable 2FA code, user service. I'll set that this one is also async function. I will create a method async enable 2-factor auth. Yes, we will find the user based on ID, and I have set the is 2FA enable to true. So we gotta use that method here. I'll call it await this dot user enable 2FA based on the ID. If everything is good, we will send the message 2-factor authentication enabled. So we implemented with generate method. This generate method is generating QR code, generating secret, and generating 2-factor secret, and set the 2-factor secret for the user. This will enable this one. The main purpose of this enable is to enable that 2-factor authentication. After user enabled, we have to verify the code. We have to verify by using this library. Don't worry if you're not getting how I'm gonna call these handlers, methods. I'll teach you when we will implement authentication on the front. Now we're gonna move forward to our front-end application. We're gonna implement authentication here. Make sure the backend project is running. Docker compose up. I should stop my existing projects. Let's run the project. Is everything okay? I got the issue. 2FA service is in the auth module. Let me double check that. Let's rename that service to 2FA. Instead of 2, I'm gonna use that. 2FA.service. Let's rename that. Save the auth controller. I also need to update the path here. 2FA. I think I did not have that. 2FA service. So everything is good now. My backend project is running. Our first step is to define the actually two properties in the store. I will have is 2FA required, 2FA enabled or required. Yes. And by default, we're gonna set the false. And this one is used to update the value in the store. To enable the 2-factor authentication, user has to view the account page, or user has to view the profile page. However you want to do. Let's say I want to go to the, let's say I want to implement the profile page. I don't have profile page. Create a new component. Create a new page. I'll call it profile page.tsx. Default profile page. Return something. Profile page. Function. Let's look at the profile page. If I go to the profile, I cannot see anything here. Only authenticated user can view this profile page. So we need to protect that page. I can copy that code from the dashboard and place it here. And we also need to implement that. Copy the libraries. Make that to async. Here I will have enable to FA. We will have enable to FA component here. What is the issue? Yeah, everything is fine now. Let's try to access the profile route. It will not allow me to access the profile route. This one is working fine. So here we will render the enable to FA component. Enable to FA. Yes, we will have that. We did not create that component yet. Inside the auth, you should create enable to FA.tsx. This is client-side component. And we need to use, let's create the component, enable to FA. Enable to FA. Actually, here we need QR code. QR code. Yes, this one. Let's import react.useState. And we also need code. Set code. Yes, set code. Instead of React, I'll use useState. Destructure the useState. Now we need to generate the secret. Generate the secret. I will send the generate request to our backend server. Yes, this one. So we defined that route here. When you look at the auth controller, you will find /2fa/generate, auth/2fa/generate. We also need to include credentials. If response is not okay, we need to send the error back. This set QR code will set the code here. This API returns the QR code. Yes. If you look at the generate result, we will get the QR code. So now we also need to have the verify method here. we also need to call the verify here. So I can say verify code. This will send the backend request to the 2FA verify route. If everything is good, if we got the success, it's gonna return the true. Otherwise, we get the error back. We are returning in the verify. Actually, this one is the enable route. Enable. I'll call it enable. I'll call it enable 2FA. Enable 2FA. Auth should be enable. If we got the success to true, we are also returning the success true. Yes, if we got success true, we're gonna return the alert 2FA enabled successfully. Error enabling 2FA enable code. Now our next step is to set up the button or something like, yes, something like that. We will have enable 2FA authentication. If no QR code, we will display the button to generate the QR code. We're gonna call generate secret, and we will have the image to display. And finally, we're gonna enable the 2FA. Let's view our profile route. I'm gonna log into my account. So I should go to the profile route. This is the black. We should change that. Go to the styling. Styles.css. Where is our global CSS styles? Save. Actually, we need to add enable 2FA here. So I cannot see anything due to the black styling. It is our global.css. I'm gonna set the foreground black to enable 2FA. Now everything is white now. These are all the buttons. Yes. Enable 2FA. We'll fix that. We are getting the QR code. What you need to do, if you provide the invalid code, we're gonna get the error back for one unauthorized. I think the QR code is not valid. Invalid 2FA code. I want you to open your Google Authenticator and scan your QR code. First of all, I have to fix the design of the 2FA page. I want you to comment this code, the background, not foreground. First, you should do this one, the background from the global.css. And then I have provided these snippets. You can copy that. 2FA HTML CSS snippets, you can copy that and paste it here. Inside the enable 2FA, I'm gonna comment this code and let me paste that code. And you should see enable 2FA. Now we're gonna do a little bit refactoring in our project. Instead of enable 2FA, I'm gonna have a generate 2FA secret button. We will remove the show QR code. When you click on generate secret, it's gonna display the QR code here. So I want you to open the enable 2FA. We need to delete this button, enable actually show QR code. I don't need that. So instead of enable, I will say generate 2FA secret. Enable 2FA. Let me refresh that. Generate 2FA secret. Now it's time to render the QR code here. When you click on this, it will send the API request to our backend server. It's gonna send request to this endpoint generate secret. So what we already created the method. We need to bind into our button. For QR code, I also need to do a little bit change here. Here I can say that if QR code, then we need to display the image. QR code and all should be QR code. 2FA QR code. I can set the class name, border, or rounded, whatever you want. It should be border rounded. I don't need to display if there is no QR code. Let's do it manually. If QR code, and then I should display this one, the image. Yes, this one. Now we need to send the API request. We also need to bind this one, this input handler. I'll set the value should be code. And I also need to set the on change. We need to set the value to the code. And I also need to change the text color. Text should be text dark gray 900. No, it's not working. Let me check the exact class name. Text gray. Oh, I made the mistake. Text gray. Now I can see the text. So let's add this generate request handler to the button. I can say that on click generate secret. For submit, I can have enable 2FA. Let's test it. I'm gonna generate 2FA secret. Spectacular. I got 200 response. You can see that. So 2FA request made successfully. Here is the preview. I got the QR code and the secret. So this QR code displayed here. You should install the Google Authenticator and scan your QR code. It will register a new application and you will get a 6-digit code. You gotta provide code here. Let me scan this code. You should open your authenticator. And I'm gonna scan this application. So I got the code. I'm going to provide my code. Let's send the enable request. 2FA enabled successfully. Congratulations. We have successfully enabled two-factor authentication. Our next step, let's say I'm going to log out. If user has logged in, if a user enabled 2FA, we need to display the QR code page. We need to display the page where user will enter the QR code and verify his request. When user has enabled two-factor authentication, if user try to log in, we should send to the two-factor authentication page, verification page. He needs to submit the code. If you look at from the database, this is the user I'm login heather@gmail.com. I have a two-factor secret. I also have enabled two-factor authentication. Now we need to do a little bit refactoring in the login method. Let's refactor it to token. And I'm gonna return the token and the user from here. Here we need to catch the token in this way in the user. If user.two-factor authentication enabled, then we can return the message 2FA required. I can also add another property to FA required. Let's also add that here in the response to FA required. So we will also have to update the logic in our front-end application. I want you to open the login form component. Here we need to add a logic here. If user has enabled authentication, let's say I'm trying to log in, log the response, open the login form. Here I'm gonna log the response. Let's log in with the user where you enabled the two-factor authentication. So if you go to the console, you should see the message login successfully and token set into the cookie. What is it? Is 2FA enabled? Let me double check that. I think I should do it again. Let's do that at gmail.com. Let's look at the login response. It's not working. What is the issue here? Let me debug the application. I'm gonna put breakpoint here. Now I should log in again. I can see user is two-factor enabled is true. So it should return that. I think it has fixed now. When you go to the console, now you can see that 2FA enabled. I got that response in the Next.js here. So I can add a check here on the based on condition. I can add a check else if response.toFA is enabled, you should send to that page, verify to FA. We don't have that page. Let's create that. Verify to FA. Let's add the page.tsx. Here we should generate the, I'm gonna please generate the verify to FA page for me. It's gonna do a lot of code. We should refactor everything to the verify to FA page, to the client side component. It will give me the error. So what I can do, I can move everything. Actually, I can move everything to the client side component. It should be verify to FA dot tsx. Use client. Put everything here. Now in the verify to FA, I can use that default. Export default. Not a login page. Verify to FA page. Here I could return verify to FA. Let's change the name of the component. It should be verify to FA. Verify to FA. Yes. Not at page. Yes. I should import the verify to FA. Now I should test that. Password should be. Now verify to FA is enabled. It's gonna return that response. And I got the error because I should not change the name here. This one, it should be verify to FA. Yes. So now you can see that verify two-factor authentication. I want to change the text color. Should be CSS dark gray text color. I should change the text color to black or dark gray. Now it is working fine now. So here you will put your code. You can find that code from Two-Factor, actually Google Authenticator app, and you should put that code, and we will make verify API request. This one we created that verify API request. If everything is verified, here we will send cookie based authentication. Basically we will send the JWT in the cookie. I'm gonna log in with my user. I have enabled the two-factor authentication for this user. It should navigate to our 2FA page. Here we have to implement the front end. It will accept the code and you have to send the backend request to this URL. The verify URL. This one. First, we need to implement the front end. I don't need this code. We need to send the API request to backend server. I can copy that API calling code from 2FA, enable 2FA, and I can paste it here. All I just need to change the URL name. It should be verify. You can see that. And I also need to provide the code. Let's provide the body. We need to provide the code. Make sure you include the credentials. If everything is fine, we should navigate to router.push dashboard or router.push router dashboard, and I also need to set the success to true, and we also need to set the logged in. This one I can copy that code from the login form, use auth store. I also need to use router. Actually, I should import here. And we need to use the router and set logged in. So I'm going to set the set logged in to false. True, actually true, because we have successfully authenticated with two-factor authentication, and I want to navigate to the dashboard and set the success to true. That would be our logic on the front end side. One more thing, I don't want to add the two-factor JWT authentication for two-factor route, because this should be a public, not a public route, because I don't have access token. When you look at the login route handler, we are not returning any token here. We are, let me find that. We are just returning only this message. Here we have to return a temporary user in the cookie. We should follow that pattern. For if user is enabled two-factor authentication, we will send the cookie. It should be pending user. Yes, that's it. Make sure you can set the 10 minutes or 5 minutes. We will set the temporary user cookie for only 5 minutes, or however you want to do. It will be expired after 5 minutes. All I need to get the user ID. Actually, we need to send the user ID in the cookie. So we set the cookie, temporary user. It should be pending username. You can use any name. If user has verified successfully, we need to send the token in the cookie. We got to follow the same pattern. To implement that, we need a guard. It should be a 2FA guard. This guard will check only did user enable two-factor authentication or not. So I can implement the JW instead of use guard. I will implement the 2FA guard. Yes, 2FA guard. How did I get that? 2FA guard. We don't have that yet. I'm gonna create the guard inside the auth. It should be 2fa.guard.ts file. I'm use GitHub Copilot. Please generate. Oops, what is this? Stop this debugger. fa guard, remove this one. Let's make it simple. Command I, please generate the guard NestJS guard snippet. That's nice. So we got the guard. Here we need to write a couple of checks here. First we need to get the pending user. Need to get the pending user. Pending user cookie should be present. If no, we should return the error. Actually, we don't need to return any. We should get the pending user. If pending user, then we should set something on the request object. I can set the request.user. It should be ID should be pending user, and I can say is to FA enabled. Here I can also set is to FA enabled to be true, right? And if there is no request.user, then you can throw the error, throw new unauthorized no user found. If user does not enable two-factor authentication, we can also return error. If everything is fine, we should return the true. So this guard will help us to extract the pending user. Make sure you import the cookie parser, otherwise you will get the error. Make sure you install cookie parser. Otherwise it will not parse the cookie. I found that issue. That is why we should install the cookie parser. Cookie parser. So I can import the cookie parser, and I can set that cookie parser here. So now with the help of this cookie parser, I should be able to parse the pending user. So I can add to FA guard here. This one will work. So let's run the project in debug mode. I want to show you the complete flow. Here I will get the request ID, request.user.id. So instead of using that method, I should do find user by ID. I should use that method, request.user.id. I gotta create that method in the user service. I'll say that async get or find user by ID. Yes. It's gonna find the user based on ID. So I will get the ID. Now, if everything is fine, we also need to return the cookie access token in the cookie. We should follow the same process. This will help us to send the cookie back. Response should be any. We also need to get the access token. Find user by ID. Everything is fine. Code is verified now. And then we should generate the payload to generate the access token. Payload should be ID should be user.id. We also need to send the email while generating access token user.email. And then we need to generate the token. I can use this dot user service. Actually, it should be auth service generate token. I can provide the payload. We don't have that method in the auth service. I want you to create that method. That will be helpful. Inside the auth service, I can generate the token, generate JWT token. And it will return this dot JWT service dot sign. And I'm gonna provide the payload. That's it. This should be, oops, generate JWT token. And finally, I should copy the cookie we are sending in the login. I can copy that. If user has verified two-factor authentication, then we should set the cookie for 1 day. So it's time to test it. I'm gonna log in with my user. I need to provide the code 936269. Invalid code. Oops. So let's test our 2FA. I'm going to provide the code. One thing, make sure if you check the application, you can see the pending user, the ID of the user I'm trying to log in, which is 29. So my code has been changed now. I should send another. It's not calling the verify method. So what is the issue? Let's provide the code 671. Now it worked. It worked. I'm gonna find the user. Did you see a user has been verified successfully? So you should see the dashboard page now. Let's do that again. First of all, get rid of everything. Let's say I'm gonna put breakpoint here. 2fa@gmail.com 23456. I'm gonna provide the code 118932. So it has two-factor. I can see it has parsed the cookie from the request.cookies. ID is 29. Request.user. Is two-factor enabled? Yes, it is enabled. And then here I got the request.user.id. One thing you can do that you can add the plus sign, convert string to integer. So then this method will call verify code. It will verify, and finally we are going to generate the access token and send that back to cookie. So you have learned how to implement two-factor authentication with NestJS and Next.js. If you have any question, or if you want me to produce any other content tutorial or any content video, you should comment the topic name.